Most elite executives, team leaders, and even CEOs struggle in their public speaking skills, even though they're excellent communicators. And the reason why, because communication and public speaking are completely two different skills. However, they complement each other. So if you're struggling in your work presentation, leading a meeting, or pitching a project, it's not because you don't know your material or you don't know the structure of your presentation. It's because you lack the most essential tips in public speaking. So if that's you, this episode is the right episode to transform your presentation like a professional keynote speech. Hi, I'm Coach Lucy, and I'm here to help you master the art of public speaking. So if you're ready to improve your public speaking and communication skills, make sure to subscribe for high-value content every week. I am not going to tell you that the best way for you to handle a work presentation like a professional speaker and communicator, to use your body language, speak with confidence, share eye contact, the use of stage, and have a clear structure. You already know that. That's why you're excellent at what you do. However, if you want to be from the top elite communicators and speakers at your work or at your job and career, I'm going to share with you the 5 advanced public speaking tips to transform your work presentation. Number 1, structure your presentation around key takeaways. Probably your presentation is well structured. However, is it structured based on the ideas that you want to share or based on the takeaway that you want to convey your team? So most of the time, the presentation should be divided into 3 parts in your body, because if you share more than 3 main ideas, your structure is going to be a little bit overwhelming. So keep that in mind and let's start from there. 3 main ideas. What's the takeaway of your idea? So you have 3 points. Each point should have a message, a purpose, a call to action. What do you want to convey? Most of the time, executives mix up between the final takeaway of your presentation and each takeaway of your 3 ideas in your body. So what's the takeaway of idea number 1? What's the takeaway of idea number 2? And what's the takeaway of idea number 3? And start thinking of the takeaway and design the structure of your presentation based on these 3 takeaways. In that way, your team will be more engaged and they will know that each idea has a purpose, has a message, has a call to action. It will keep them alert and it will be so much easier for them to know exactly what do you want to convey from your presentation. Number 2, engage early with a powerful hook. Now, when you hear start with a powerful hook, you probably think, what's the first sentence that I want to say to grab my audience's attention? This is very important. However, there are 2 types or 2 different ways to engage with a powerful hook before you start your presentation. Let's start with the first one, which is the most obvious. The first minute of your speech, and even better, the first 20 seconds of your speech. Never start your presentation with the tasks or with the information that you want to share. Never start your presentations with greetings, thank yous, and formalities. The first couple of seconds of your presentation needs to be treated the same way as if you're delivering a keynote speech on stage. Grab your audience's attention directly from the start. Professional speakers, they benefit from every single second of their speech to keep their audience engaged. So don't start with thank yous, don't start with formalities, and don't start with greetings. Directly start your presentation either with a powerful fact, ask your team or your audience a question that will make them think, reflect, what are you going to say next? Or start with a powerful story, an experience, something that your audience can relate to. Move on with your introduction, and if it's necessary to start with greetings, do that after your introduction. And always keep in mind, your thank yous should always stay at the end of your presentation. Another way to start with a powerful engagement or a powerful hook is before even you stand on stage or start the meeting in the boardroom, which is while you're connecting with your team and your audience before the meeting. Have a nice handshake. Introduce yourself. Ask them about their next project. What's their name? What's their career? What's their profession? If you're handling a meeting with a team that you met for the first time, build that connection with your audience before you start your meeting, before you start presentation. No matter what's your position, no matter what's your career, this is a very powerful hook to start before your meeting. And if you want to make it a golden start, do both hooks. Engage with your team, with your audience, with your guests before the meeting, handshake, welcome them, and that way you won't have to face this awkward situation, or you will be able at least to know what's the vibe of your audience before you start delivering your presentation. And when it's time for you to start speaking, start with a powerful hook, a fact, a question, or a story that your audience can engage to. If you will be able to do these both hooks together, it is guaranteed that you will stand out, you will have a good presence and good authority before you even start with your actual presentation. Number 3, master your transition to maintain the flow. This is one of the most common and the biggest mistake elite executives, team leaders, and even CEOs struggle with. You need to fill in the gap, especially when you're switching from one idea to another or when you're transitioning in your work presentation. And I'm going to give you a very simple example, and I'm pretty sure every single one of you experienced that. You're handling a meeting or you're delivering a work presentation. Most of the time, either you have notes, your laptop, your slides, a screen, a chart, something like that that you need to work with. It's a prop. Now, when you're switching from one idea to another, you're going to focus on these slides, on the screen, to make sure that everything is aligned, all the technical things are perfectly okay before you switch to the next idea. When you do that, you are giving the chance for your team to open side chats, to be distracted with their phones, to have a side conversation. And when you're back on track, you're going to do the double effort to grab their attention again, to make everybody focus, to move on with the next idea. This is the gap transition. If you learn how to master this transition, you will maintain a very professional flow. You will be able to keep your audience engaged the entire time and alert, and it will save you a lot of energy to grab their attention every single time you need to do a new transition in your work presentation. And the best way to master that is to prepare 2 or 3 side transitions and practice these transitions when you are practicing your work presentation. And if you're not practicing your work presentation, there's a big problem, my friend, because handling a work presentation or a meeting, you need to practice it the same way as if you're practicing a keynote speech on stage. Because when you learn how to combine your communication skills and your public speaking skills together, then it is guaranteed that you will be a professional communicator who knows how to speak like a leader. So have 3 main ideas or sentences or transitions to use in these gaps. One of them, we go back to number 1, to master your takeaways. So I'm going to give you a very simple example. I finished my first idea and now it's time for me to check my slides to make sure that everything is on track. While I'm doing that, I can share the summary or the takeaway of my first point. In that way, you will be speaking to your team but handling your technicals at the same time. You won't be giving them the chance to open a side chat. Or you can simply have 2 other phrases that will show as if you're speaking to your team, but you're handling your technicals. So for example, now we finalize the first takeaway. If you have any questions regarding this part of your meeting, make sure to write it down because we're going to have a very long Q&A session at the end of this presentation. You're talking to them, but you're handling your technicals. Master these transitions to maintain a professional flow. Number 4, leverage open-ended questions to drive reflection. When you're handling a meeting, pitching a project, or a work presentation, it's not all about you. If you want to keep your audience and your team engaged, my number 1 tip for you is to leverage open-ended questions. Most of the time, executives depend on the Q&A to have this conversation. On the other hand, if you ask open-ended questions for your team, it shows that you are interested in your team. You're willing to invest in their personal growth. You're willing to have discussion. You are open for feedback, for evaluation, for different ideas, different suggestions. Don't leave the questions only till the end in your Q&A. Q&A is different. Leveraging open-ended questions during your meeting is the best strategy to keep your audience engaged, to make them involved, and to have this professional communication together. So keep in mind to have some of open-ended questions throughout your work presentation. It is enough to only have one between transitions, for example. It is a very nice skill to implement. Ask an open-ended question for your team to fill the gap. See how things are aligned? These are the advanced tips that I always share with elite executives. And if you will be able to apply these in every presentation, your communication skills will be like a professional CEO, and you will be able to talk like a professional leader. Which leads me to tip number 5. End with a call to action and a purpose. Most of the time, we think the best way to end our speech or our presentation with a call to action, with a purpose, with a message. But what I highly recommend, and this is an advanced tip, to end your work presentation or your meeting with a call to action and a purpose. Because when you only think about the tasks that you want to give to your team, it shows as if your team is there just simply to do whatever you want to do. However, if you combine the call to action with the purpose of this presentation, it shows that you are making them involved in this project. You want to be working as a team. You're a leader. You're not a boss. It will change the shift. It will change the perspective. Obviously, you're sharing your presentation or you're leading a meeting for a call to action. You want your team to do X, Y, Z. This is the typical meeting and a typical work presentation. If you combine it with a purpose, what's the purpose of your meeting? I know that you want them to do task 1, 2, 3, but what's the purpose behind it? Why you want them to do these tasks? This is where your purpose. So end your work presentation or your meeting with a call to action combined with a purpose. Everybody has experience and everybody has knowledge. However, not everybody is able to communicate like a professional CEO and talk like a leader. If you apply these 5 advanced strategies in your next meeting, work presentation, or even if you're pitching a project, especially in front of a new audience, this could be your presentation that will make you do the biggest deal. This could be the meeting that will open a lot of opportunities for you. Apply these 5 advanced strategies and it's guaranteed your next meeting, presentation, or pitching your project is gonna be your breakthrough. If you find this episode helpful, or if you find at least one tip that will help you transform your presentation, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more high-value content every week. And I highly recommend to watch the next episode to improve your public speaking skills. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.